Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise,
Yeah.
really get past the spin on some of the biggest stories out there. Today, we are taking a plunge, a deep one, into, well, one of the most talked about, most scrutinized relationships, really, the connection between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. It's a story wrapped in power, wealth, shadows, and honestly, narratives that just keep changing. We've gathered a pretty big stack of sources for you, articles, interviews, legal docs, timelines too. Our job here is to pull out the key pieces, the really important nuggets from this story that feels like it's always shifting under our feet. We want to get what happened, sure, but also what does it all mean?
Exactly. And our aim here is simple. Present a clear, impartial look at what the public record actually tells us. Lay out the different angles, the controversies, the documented points. We're not taking sides. The goal is to give you the solid ground you need to form your own informed view on this because, let's face it, public scrutiny has heavily shaped how this whole thing is perceived.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We'll trace it from the start, the early days, through the different reasons given for their split, the whole Epstein files drama, what Ghislaine Maxwell has said recently, and crucially, the failures. The really heartbreaking failures that victims face. Let's start back in the early years, way before the big public scandals hit. Trump and Epstein, they moved in, very similar high society circles, and their association wasn't just casual bumping into each other. There are documented moments that show how intertwined their social lives were.
It really is fascinating how far back it goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the earliest examples, and it's pretty telling, is from 1992 at Mar-a-Lago. A Florida businessman, George Horaney, he stated very clearly he brought 28 women, he called them girls, to Mar-a-Lago. Trump apparently asked him to. And get this, it wasn't some big party. It was reportedly private, just for Trump and Epstein.
Exclusively for them.
That's what Horaney said, that kind of exclusive event back then. It says a lot about their closeness at the time,
And that 92 event, it didn't just fade away. It actually became the focus of a sexual misconduct lawsuit against Trump later on. Jill Harth sued him in 1997. Stemming directly from that calendar girl competition, as it was called. She alleged Trump forcibly kissed her, groped her, even stopped her leaving a room.
Yeah, that's right. It connects that early Epstein association directly to serious allegations against Trump himself. And there are other accounts from around then that paint a similar picture. It wasn't just like one-off meetings. Take model Stacey Williams. She talked about something happening in '93 at Trump Tower. Said both Trump and Epstein touched her, smiling at each other. She called it a twisted game.
A twisted game.
Yeah. And she was blunt about it, said it was very clear then that he and Donald were really, really good friends and spent a lot of time together. So this suggests more than just being acquaintances. It points to a pattern.
There's also that really disturbing account from Maria Farmer. She's a key Epstein accuser. And she linked Trump to Epstein's world very early. She reported seeing Trump late one night in '95 inside Epstein's offices.
And she didn't just say this later. She actually mentioned Trump's name in FBI interviews back in 1996 and then again in 2006 about this specific incident.
Which makes you wonder what was known and who knew it, even back then.
Right. And what's interesting, too, is how open some of it was. By February 2000, you've got photos, even videos, showing Trump, Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Melania Knowles, who wasn't Melania Trump yet, all hanging out together at Mar-a-Lago.
So not exactly hiding it.
No, not at all. These images publicly documented them together. It seems like there wasn't much effort to keep it secret back then. So yeah, the stories might change now, but the visual evidence of those early public ties is still there.
Okay, so we have these early connections established, pretty clear social links. But then the story takes a much darker turn when we look at how Epstein's network might have started intersecting with Trump's world, particularly through Virginia Giuffre. She's one of Epstein's most well-known accusers.
This is a really critical point. Virginia Giuffre has stated Ghislaine Maxwell recruited her into Epstein's circle back in 2000. And here's the kicker. Giuffre says this happened while she was working as a teenage spa attendant at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club.
At Mar-a-Lago itself.
Yes, and her Social Security records reportedly back up that she was employed there at that time. So the alleged recruitment happens right inside the orbit of Trump's property. The implications there are, they're pretty huge, aren't they?
Absolutely huge. And what's also striking is how the story about why Trump and Epstein fell out, how that explanation has changed so much over the years. It's almost like the narrative keeps getting reshaped.
Yeah.
Initially, you heard reports about a real estate fight in 2004. Trump supposedly outbid Epstein for a mansion in Palm Beach. Other times, the story was just that Trump started calling Epstein a creep and distanced himself. Pretty simple explanations.
Exactly. But what's really insightful here isn't just that the timeline gets fuzzy later, it's how the story of their relationship seems to be constantly, rebuilt, often to fit whatever the current political or PR need is. Like the most recent version, which popped up in July 2025 when everything was heating up again, Trump suddenly claimed he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago because Epstein had, quote, stolen people that worked for me.
Stolen people?
Yeah, and he specifically named Jeffrey, said he stole her, implying that was the reason the friendship ended.
But wait, that brings up a major timing issue, doesn't it? If Jeffrey was recruited around 2000, like she says, why did Trump reportedly kick Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago in October 2007? That's a 7-year gap.
Exactly. That gap really makes you question the sequence. Was that really the catalyst? It challenges that neat he stole her narrative.
It definitely complicates it.
And then remember, after Ghislaine Maxwell got arrested in 2020, Trump made that comment. It got a lot of criticism.
All right.
He said, I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. That kind of sympathetic tone towards someone accused of enabling horrific abuse, it struck a lot of people as really problematic, especially given the charges and the public outcry for justice.
Yeah, wishing her well wasn't maybe the best choice of words there.
It suggested maybe some lingering loyalty, or at least a real lack of condemnation. It was notable.
Okay, let's shift gears now to 2025. A period of just intense controversy, especially around the so-called Epstein files. This whole thing blew up way beyond just a legal issue. It became hugely political.
Oh, absolutely. For a while, Trump and his allies had been, stoking conspiracy theories about Epstein, and crucially, they'd promised during campaigns to release these Epstein files. This built up a massive expectation among his base that he was going to expose some secret list, some hidden cabal of powerful people. It was a narrative that really connected with some supporters.
And then Attorney General Pam Bondi stepped in, February 2025. She says Epstein's client list is, quote, sitting on my desk right now to review.
Right, which, given the climate, just poured gasoline on the fire.
Exactly. But then fast forward to July 7th, 2025. The Justice Department puts out a memo. Says, nope, no specific secret client list exists. And they reaffirm Epstein died by suicide. Bondi later had to clarify. Said she just meant the general case file was on her desk. But that initial statement, then the walk back, it created this huge space for mistrust, didn't it?
It really did, and that space filled up immediately with backlash. Huge disappointment, anger from Trump's base. They felt, quote, betrayed, started calling it a cover-up. And then, in a really surprising twist, Trump himself publicly dismisses the whole thing, calls the ongoing interest in Epstein hoax a scam run by Democrats.
He turned on his own supporters over it.
He did. He called the ones focused on it stupid, foolish, and weaklings. Going from promising exposure to just dismissing the entire interest, that was a really striking pivot.
Wow. And this whole storm even reached Congress, right? The House Oversight Committee got involved.
They did. Started issuing subpoenas to Epstein's estate, demanding videos, contact books, even a specific birthday book people were talking about. They also subpoenaed Ghislaine Maxwell for a deposition. And significantly, former President Bill Clinton and the Justice Department itself.
So they were casting a wide net.
Very wide. The DOJ did start handing over some records around August 22nd, 2025, but the pressure for full transparency was immense.
And wasn't there something unusual about the House schedule around then?
Yes, very unusual. House Speaker Mike Johnson decided to recess the House early for the summer. And he explicitly said it was to avoid votes on releasing the Epstein files, said he wanted to give the administration space.
Give them space.
Yeah. Essentially punting on this hugely controversial issue, it really highlighted how politically sensitive, how much pressure surrounded those documents.
Okay, so the political world is absolutely buzzing at this point. Let's zoom in on Ghislaine Maxwell herself. Her recent statements, made from prison, add another really interesting layer to all this.
Right. So in July 2025, Maxwell has this meeting. It's with Deputy U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche. And the significant thing here is Blanche used to be Trump's personal criminal defense lawyer.
Ah, okay. That connection definitely raises eyebrows.
For sure. The meeting itself got a lot of attention. People wondering, what's the purpose? What's going on here, given Blanche's history with Trump?
And then the DOJ released audio from Maxwell's interview, right? What were the key things she said?
Well, she offered her take on the Trump-Epstein relationship, said they were friendly like people are in social settings, but specifically not close friends. Crucially, she also stated she never saw Trump in any, quote, massage setting and had absolutely never in any context heard about him doing anything inappropriate.
Okay.
She also claimed she didn't remember anything about that specific birthday book for Epstein that people were focused on. Her statements, coming from her position, definitely added more complexity.
And the timing of her move. Wasn't there something about that?
Yes, the timing was interesting. Just days after that interview with Blanche, Maxwell gets moved. From a Florida jail to a minimum security prison camp down in Texas, much less restrictive. Jess Michaels, the Epstein survivor and advocate, she immediately connected those dots, called it trial balloons. Pointed out Trump refused to rule out pardoning Maxwell, suggesting maybe her statements, her cooperation, led to better prison conditions.
Potential quid pro quo is the implication.
That's certainly what some advocates were suggesting.
And did Maxwell say anything else in that interview? Anything beyond Trump?
She did make some other pretty intriguing claims. Said Epstein got into a business where he, quote, looked for stolen money. And she went further, suggesting he might have had links to espionage. Even mentioned seeing a photo of him with African warlords.
Espionage, stolen money, African warlords. Okay, that opens up a whole other potential dimension to Epstein's activities.
Exactly. Hints at something maybe even broader, darker than the sex trafficking ring we already know about.
Okay, wow. And adding another twist recently was this alleged birthday letter from Trump to Epstein. That caused a stir too, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Another flashpoint. The Wall Street Journal reported it in July 2025. They described this body letter, supposedly sent by Trump to Epstein for his 50th birthday back in 2003. It reportedly had a hand-drawn sketch of a naked woman.
Seriously.
That's what the report claimed. And it supposedly ended with this line, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret."
Another wonderful secret. Yikes. That sounds suggestive, to say the least, especially given everything else.
Right. Coming out when it did, amidst all the other files talk, it was guaranteed to make waves.
And Trump's reaction?
Immediate and forceful. He flat out denied writing it, called it fake, a scam on his social media,
Right.
Said, "These are not my words, not the way I talk." Total denial.
Trying to distance himself completely.
Completely. And he didn't stop there. He then filed this massive lawsuit, $10 billion, against the Wall Street Journal, its parent company News Corp, Rupert Murdoch himself, and the reporters.
$10 billion.
Yeah. Called the paper third rate. It wasn't just denying it. It was a major counterattack, a powerful move to try and control the narrative when damaging information comes out.
It really shows how high the stakes are in controlling this story. Okay, we've covered a lot of the political back and forth, the legal stuff, but it's so important we bring this back to the core human element, the victims, and the system's failures that let Epstein operate for so long.
Absolutely crucial. Jess Michaels, the survivor we mentioned, she spoke about the deep frustration. Decades of victims speaking out, she said, and still feeling a lack of accountability and justice. She also described the physical toll of trauma, calls it PTSI, post-traumatic stress injury. To emphasize, it's not just mental, it's a physical wound. Causes pain, fatigue, stomach issues. It affects your whole body.
PTSI, okay, that's a powerful way to frame it.
And Virginia Giuffre's family. They expressed shock over Trump's recent comments about her being stolen. They're demanding answers. It highlights the ongoing pain, the need for truth for these families.
And the history of law enforcement just dropping the ball. It's infuriating. Maria Farmer reporting her abuse to the FBI back in '96 and 2006.
And reportedly getting hung up on during one call.
Hung up on. And her detailed reports apparently just sat there, ignored for years. That initial failure, spanning decades, it's a chilling look at how the system failed to protect people.
Which really leads to the question, how did Epstein get away with it initially at the federal level? Setting him up for years more of abuse, that 2008 non-prosecution agreement, the MPA, brokered by Alex Acosta, who was the U.S. attorney then, that's a huge piece of the puzzle.
Right, the infamous MPA.
Get this. A lead federal prosecutor had actually put together a 60-count draft indictment, laying out the scope of Epstein's federal crimes.
60 counts.
Yeah, but Acosta reportedly overruled it, personally signed off on a deal where Epstein pleaded guilty to just 2 state charges, served only 13 months, mostly on a very lenient work release program. It's just a stunning example of the system failing to bring the hammer down.
And the way that deal was made, it was shady too, wasn't it?
Extremely. Negotiated totally in secret. Victims were apparently misled, told the investigation was still ongoing for months after the deal was already signed.
No, really.
That's what reports indicate. And even after conviction, his work release. Absurdly lenient. Deputies told to wear suits, call him a client, let him leave his office to go back to his mansion. It bears no resemblance to real justice.
Calling him a client, unbelievable.
And look at the financial side, another huge failure. JP Morgan Chase, the bank, filed 6 alerts with the Treasury Department between 2002 and 2016, filed about 150 cash transaction reports on Epstein. They even reported suspicious activity directly to federal law enforcement.
The bank was flagging this stuff repeatedly.
Repeatedly, and yet apparently no federal agency ever contacted the bank back, never indicated any investigation was happening. One FBI agent actually told a bank manager they weren't interested.
Weren't interested
Yeah.
in massive suspicious transactions linked to Epstein.
That's the report. It wasn't just a missed signal, it was like an alarm bell being actively ignored.
And on top of all that, he just kept traveling internationally, even after being a registered sex offender.
Yeah, extensively. Over 20 private jet flights just between 2018 and 2019. He had reporting obligations as a sex offender, but somehow no international lookout was ever put on him.
How does that happen? How does someone like that move so freely across borders? It just screams breakdown, systemic breakdown.
Victims' lawyers have been hammering this point, calling official reports a cover-up, slamming the light-handedness in dealing with obvious wrongdoing. They find it offensive, hurtful. Attorney James Marsh even brought up that Acosta had apparently mentioned Epstein being connected to intelligence services. That's a thread victims' advocates really wish had been pulled harder, investigated fully. Was there some other layer of protection?
Intelligence services.
Yeah.
Wow. That's another whole level of potential complexity. And wasn't there also a political fight over financial records? Senator Wyden.
Right. Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat, he alleged the Trump administration had access to files showing thousands of wire transfers, over $1 billion flowing through just one of Epstein's banks. Wyden accused them of refusing to investigate, including alleged ties to Russian banks.
But Treasury denied that.
Yeah, the Treasury Department pushed back, denied any hidden files, said the Biden administration had the same access to that info. It just shows how even crucial financial data gets caught up in political fighting, making the truth harder to see.
So many layers of failure.
It's not just isolated mistakes, is it? It's this chilling pattern, systemic weaknesses, law enforcement, banks, maybe political will. It all seemed to create an environment where Epstein could operate with just shocking impunity for decades. It forces you to ask, how many safety nets failed? And why? And when you look at the Trump-Epstein relationship through that lens, you see this stark contrast between the documented history we talked about and all the later efforts to redefine it, to reshape the narrative. It's created this vacuum, really, filled with speculation, filled with politically motivated stories, makes finding the actual truth incredibly difficult.
Yeah, incredibly difficult is right. Between the conflicting stories, the secrecy around deals like the NPA, the way everything gets politicized, the picture is still so complex, so murky. It really feels like a story where accountability has been, well, slippery. And the search for real justice for the victims is tragically still ongoing.
Which leaves a big question for you listening to this. In a world overflowing with information, but where truth itself feels contested, constantly manipulated, how do we do it? How do we critically look at these narratives? How do we question the assumptions? And most importantly, how do we make sure that the demand for accountability, for real justice, stays front and center, even when we're up against powerful interests and decades of, frankly, obfuscation?
So here's where it gets really interesting. After digging through all this with us, what stands out most to you, Young? What questions linger in your mind about this incredibly complex and, frankly, unsettling story?